Hi everybody, it's Paul Kelly. I've been a teaching professional now for close to 35 years. I've done over 10,000 lessons, and I want to talk to you about the number one thing that I see that prohibits students and golfers from making a change and then sticking with that change. So I'm going to use a couple examples. I'm going to show you how I get around that with a student. I hope you find this helpful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a couple of swings. I'm going to use the example of a standard slice. This is the one that we see the most often. Over the top, open club face. And then I'm going to talk to you about how I approach that with the student and how I have really good success with students making their change in their pattern of their movement and sticking with it so that they get it down and they don't abandon it and move on to something else. All right, over the top, outside in, open club face. And there we go. We see that all day long as instructors. Over the top, open club face. So then I'll bring them over to the screen and I'll show them the data, because the data doesn't lie and the data doesn't have opinions. All right, so if we focus on the middle screen of the club video actually coming in, we can see the path. That blue line approaching the ball is the club path. The yellow line up and down vertically is the club face. And then we can see on the bottom is that we have a swing path of 5.5 degrees outside in and a club face of 4 degrees open. Now that gives us a face to path of 10.3. And as I talk to them about this, I want them to understand it. So I talk to them and I explain, your face controls the initial direction, your swing path controls most of the curvature. So your face sends it, your swing bends it. Do we have that? And they'll say yes. I say, okay, so we're going to work on changing your swing path first. Nothing else. We're changing the pattern of outside in to inside out. And I'll ask them, does that sound like a good place to start? And they'll say, sure. I want them to buy into it. I want them to own the change. So then we say, okay, I'm going to take an alignment stick and I'm going to lay it down so that it's severely pointing off to the right. We are making a pattern change. We're not interested in anything else except for changing that pattern right now because we've got some building blocks to carry on. So now I'm going to say, I want you to swing and follow that stick with your path. And they'll say, okay. And I'll say, how was that? And they say, well, that's no better than before because the ball is still slicing. And this is where the key comes in. Is that most people, when they make a change, they will equate the success of that change with the ball flight. Now, we were going in to change a pattern. Did we change the pattern? Well, let's have a look. Now, once again, I stressed, we did this in an extreme version because we wanted to see them make a pattern change. Look at the difference in that video of that club coming at the ball from inside. So that's coming at the ball from almost 14 degrees inside, which I stress is exaggerated. We're not going to stay there, but we came at it from the inside. It was a pattern change. Was the club face still open? Yes. Did the ball go to the right? Absolutely. So we made a pattern change. We did not see the ball flight we wanted, and this is where most people go wrong. They see that and they go, well, that's no better than it was, and it feels uncomfortable, so I'll go back to the way I did it, because if I'm going to produce the same flight, why not do it on my own terms? And they abandon the good beginning of a pattern change that they made. Now, if I make a pattern change and I don't see the ball flight I want, it's because there is another pattern change that has to come after it, and that would be club face. And we're not dealing with club face here. We're dealing with swing path. So, started outside in, now gets the feeling of inside out. And I want that student to stay with that and just hit balls and have them all go over to the right. Each time they look down the line and they go back to the data, they look at it, I am 10 degrees inside out on that. I'm watching my club on the video come through. And every single time they make a shot, I bring them back to the screen and I want them to see the data. I want them to get success in their head that I'm making a pattern change. And each time they make a swing and they create the pattern that I'm looking for, which right now is inside out, and it's excessively inside out because I want them to move away from their standard comfortable pattern. We'll deal with it, shortening it up a little bit later. We're moving away from it. So I see them make their swing, Go back to the data again. Look, you were inside out. Is that the change we wanted to make? And they say, yes. I say, that's what we agreed that we were going to do today. We're going to change your pattern. Is the ball flight important? And sometimes they'll still say yes, and I have to remind them that it is not important because we're making a change to a movement, and another change to another movement will come later, which will tie these together, and that will give us our ball flight. But we have to do one and then move on and do the other one. And I want them to get comfortable with it so that it's natural and easy to do, so that when we do introduce that second pattern, there's not two things in their head going on. So we have brought them from this to this by not focusing on the ball flight. By not focusing on the ball flight, they can feel comfortable grooving it over there. Because what I've found with people is that as soon as they see that go over there, they want to manipulate something else to fight it, and when they do that, they ruin their pattern that they're working on. And that's my experience in 35 years, is that people will equate the success of their movement or their drill with the ball flight, and that makes them move away from the success of the drill, and it gets them to abandon it because they don't see the ball flight instantly that they want, even though they were creating good patterns and good movements. They quit it. If you're working on a pattern, work on the pattern only. Move on to the next pattern. And each time we keep focusing and reinforcing the fact that we are working on this measurable pattern that we can see success. The ball flight is not important at this point. Thanks again for watching. I'm Paul Kelly.